Well, I wanted to talk for a few minutes about the process of actually taking a book to market. Now, there are a number of opportunities today, certainly many more opportunities than there were just a few years ago. These days, there are traditional publishers, which is what we've had for hundreds of years now, where you can take a manuscript into them, they will work with you on it, they'll publish it, take it to market. But now, we used to talk about publishers as being, they were small publishers, medium-sized and large publishers. Now there's an entirely new wave of publishing, which is micro-publishers, who grew out of the self-publishing movement. So self-publishing came along just 10 or 15 years ago, and it revolutionized the publishing industry. Power was no longer controlled by just a few people and a few houses. Suddenly there were all kinds of opportunities. You could take your manuscript, and if you wanted to just go to Amazon and get it published as is, you could, which, led to thousands of really bad books being published. On the other hand, it also led to hundreds of really good books being published. It was clear that the market had grown beyond what traditional publishers could do. Now, this is interesting to me because I started working in publishing in 1977 when I was in college, which to some of you is like, wow, that was the Coolidge administration. It was a long time ago, but the fact is, I've been at this for a long time and I've seen huge changes. So there's this self-published model out there where you can take something, go through this process, and simply bang it out. They will print it. Whatever you send them, they will print it. The book will be out. I would say to you, few good books get done that way. A better process is to get an editor, work with them. Maybe you get a book doctor. If you're a terrible writer, you even get a collaborative writer to step in behind and rewrite your stuff and help you get it better. But the fact is, it's still taking your stories, your message, your answers, your solutions, and you are creating this document, which then you can take and self-publish. We've seen gigantic successes coming out of self-publishing. And, on the fiction side, for example, the Hunger Games and Divergent, all these series which started as self-published manuscripts. The Shack in Christian publishing started out as a self-published manuscript. Books that were different and became huge. All of those were later picked up by traditional publishers, but that doesn't negate the fact that self-publishing is the real deal. It's really publishing. And it's something that you have to consider because there are more open doors into self-publishing, certainly, than in traditional publishing. So that would be one avenue. The other avenue is to work with a traditional publisher, which frankly is much harder. It's where I've spent most of my life. You think of a publishing house as being a building with lots of windows but only one door in, and lots of people cramming to try and get in there, taking their manuscript. So there are people who have the relationships, they know about books, and they have the relationships to get in and take your manuscript into a traditional publisher. They're called literary agents. I was a literary agent for 25 years. There's an association of literary agencies which you can look at. Part of the problem there is that anybody can claim to be a literary agent, even if they don't know anything. So make sure you check out who you're talking to about a literary agent. They should be able to know how to improve your manuscript and how to guide you in your career if you're going to be writing. And they should have relationships with publishing houses. And so what they do is they take the manuscript into the publisher, present it to them, and it professionalizes the relationship. There's nothing wrong with that. It's, in most states, when you're trying to sell a house, you professionalize the relationship. You can still sell it by yourself if you want to, But most sales these days go through some kind of a real estate agent because they professionalize the relationship, because they know how to stage the house, but also how to sell it and how to make sure all the paperwork is done correctly, so nobody's coming back later with questions or concerns, or the state isn't raising issues. And so you have to think about publishing a manuscript as being a series of sales. A series of sales. You as the author, you're selling it to the agent. The agent is selling it to an editor in-house. The editor is trying to sell it to the marketing and sales people in-house, so they'll get excited about it. The marketing and sales people, along with the editor, are trying to sell it to the publishing committee. That's the decision-making body within the publishing house. Then the publishing board is trying to sell it into bookstores. So they're going to take it out to, Barnes and Noble. They're going to get it posted on Amazon. And then those final sources, Barnes and Noble or your independent bookstore. My wife owns an independent bookstore here on the Oregon coast. They're going to try and sell it to readers, to consumers. So you see, it's a series of sales that you're working through. And that's why the manuscript has to be good. But that's also why there's other things that have to be good in there. Your biography, what we call your platform, has to be strong. That is, how are you going to help sell the book? This is your book. Now, if a publishing house buys it, they're going to try and help you sell it. But every publisher knows that the best salesperson of a book is a person who wrote it. I mean, if you wrote it, you've got the most at stake. You know most about the topic. You know most about the book. You know most about the message. And it means the most to you because if it sells, you're the one who's going to get the money. So this is true whether you're traditionally publishing or whether you're self-publishing and making those own choices where you're going to try and market the book. You have to have some kind of a platform. That is, how do you reach out to people? Are you big on social media? Do you have lots of Facebook friends? Are you well known in your industry? Do you have a bunch of connections through business groups or through professional organizations? Are you an expert who is being interviewed or seen somewhere? Sometimes it's, are you somebody who speaks a lot or who is on the radio, who's on television, who has a popular podcast? All of those give you an opportunity to create what's called a platform where, there are people who listen to this author on a regular basis. So that matters. In addition to that, having some ability with marketing matters. How are you going to help sell books? Now, this is one of the differences between a lot of self-publishing people and a lot of traditionally published people. The author has to know how to help sell books, but oftentimes authors who are self-publishing, they know how to sell 20 books. Maybe they know how to sell 40 or 50 books. They can get friends together. They've got a small group at church. They've got a big Sunday school class. They belong to a golf club. So they're doing things where they can get small groups of people there. So you look at a traditional publisher. So when I was publisher at Time Warner, we had a sales expectation. And it was really hard for us to make money unless we could sell a minimum of about 10 to 12,000 copies. So we weren't that interested in small ideas that were going to sell us 15 books. The author might be, but we were really only interested if we felt here was an idea where we could sell hundreds of copies. So you see the difference. And again, it's not that one is right and one is wrong. They're just different. And so there's different avenues. So what you have to decide as an author is, which way do you want to go? What's important? What's going to, self-publishing is going to get you there faster, but what's going to reach the market best? And by the way, I am all for both traditional publishers who I've had a great relationship with and done great books with, and I'm all for self-publishing or indie publishing, going with a small indie press that may not work with you as much on editorial, but they'll get the book out there and they'll help you sell it. The fact is, with both, you still have to have a good manuscript. It still has to offer real solutions, real answers to things. You still have to have a platform to help sell it. You still have to have some sense of marketing to be able to know how to help sell your book. So those are the issues involved with trying to take a book to market.